In legends and lore spanning time and space, there are always tales of the grandest of fantastical beasts, the mighty dragons. From the highest mountains to the deepest seas, from the hottest pits to the coldest tundras, their mere presence inspires awe and commands respect. Yet for most mortals, their few draconic encounters will not occur on peaks above the clouds or the oldest of mountains, but within humbler surroundings. Too often we forget the dragons who dwell in murky swamps or scorching sands, menaces and hazards to the everyday folk of the lands. Ignore them at your own peril, for there is no easier prey than the unprepared. Hello one and all, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Andrew,
Artsmith and wordsmith of the Mythical Chemists, where we make homebrew items, monsters, and more for your D&D 5th edition campaigns. This month we are joining TTRPG creators across the world for Monster Week, an annual community event organized by Ginny D and Pointy Hat after last year's Kraken Week. This year the theme is one of our favorites, dragons. And though we already have some more draconic plans for Smogus later this year, we decided to join the fun and contribute a few dragons to the cause.
this entire week, from April 21st to the 25th, TTRPG creators like us will be releasing their own videos themed around the most iconic monster in the world. We'll link the playlist to all things Dragon Week below. Find some new creators to follow and spread the word.
Now, on to dragons. Considering they're literally half of the title of the game we've centered ourselves around, it should come as no surprise that we're big fans of these scaly creatures. But, same as last year, our usual complaint with dragons boils down to a lack of diversity amongst their design.
Admittedly, WotC seems to have also taken notice of this and made sure that the core dragons are no longer copy-pasted with a saturation adjustment in Photoshop. But we made this point in Smogus and we're sticking to it. Overall, we think there's room for improvement for the creature type, specifically with how and when players are likely to encounter them. Due to their majestic reputation, unless found as a wormling or a similarly early stage of life, dragons are usually reserved solely for high-level adventures and encounters.
And they serve wonderfully that way, making for great plot hooks, mission givers, or just awesome final BBG battle scenarios. But we wanted to tackle the problem of there being little to no draconic creatures that feel appropriate for simpler skirmishes and adventures. To remedy this, we've made a trio of dragons for Dragon Week, each designed to exist within specific habitats common in most D&D campaigns: oceans, swamps, and deserts.
We feel it's more than likely that the majority of campaigns would feature at least one of these biomes at one point or another, and took inspiration from real-world animals that inhabit them to design our dragons. That way, we hope to create draconic animals that seem like they naturally evolved to suit their respective habitats, getting new abilities and features over the years in response to their environment.
A big inspiration for us were franchises like How to Train Your Dragon and Monster Hunter, which treat dragons like indigenous species that evolved to fit their environment, even though they are still treated as fantastical. Also, shout out to anybody who grew up with the Dragonology book from back in the day. This one is for you.
So, to kick off Dragon Week, we like to present our aquatically inclined little menaces, the Archer Drakes.
Flying high above the cerulean seas, the flock flies in such numbers that they block out the sun. As if on command, innumerable drakes free fall from above, diving upon unsuspecting ships. In a frenzied cacophony of carnivorous carnage, the blue waters are quickly dyed red as sailors fall from the deck to be shredded by claw and fang. As quickly as they arrived, the drakes depart, leaving behind only an empty vessel devoid of any life.
Taking inspiration from a mix of seafaring birds and marine life, we have the Archer Drake, a migratory dragon that terrorizes ships and ports that cross its path. The design itself was based on the shape of a tern with angular wings and a split tail, mixed with an archerfish, a small fish capable of launching water at insects to knock them into the water for them to feed on.
Some additional inspirations were pterosaurs for the overall head shape, and swordfish for the sleekness and coloration. And of course, the flying fish is in there too.
We were also inspired to combine the flocking behavior of birds with the schooling behaviors of fish. Though a single drake may not pose much of a threat, it's unlikely one would be caught away from the flock.
While not settled on rocky perches for heat, they fly in great numbers to chase warmer temperatures throughout the seasons, and anyone unlucky enough to be caught in their path is subject to a frenzy of drakes diving from on high.
Built for speed in both air and sea, they plunge downwards to slash and bite at their prey before diving into nearby bodies of water for cover. Their coloration helps shield them from sight, as their lightly colored scales make them difficult to spot from afar.
Perhaps the deadliest tool in the Archer Drake's arsenal is its water shot, a forceful blast of water capable of knocking adult humanoids overboard, right into a nest of drakes waiting to tear at them. Similar to a pelican, the drake can extend the skin and muscles of its neck to store water for additional shots.
Without proper precautions, a ship can be torn apart by a swarm of drakes within minutes.
Similarly, any port towns that are regularly on the migration paths for these drakes make sure to take protective measures well in advance. Markets remain ready to shut down ahead of schedule, and fishermen keep close to shore in fear of being caught out at sea.
We designed the Archer Drake to be a fun wrench to throw into your players' vacation plans by the ocean. Contrary to how some cities come to expect the migration of birds as an annual celebration, people who anticipate the usual arrival of drakes instead come to dread the warmer months.
Missions to ward off the swarm can make for interesting adventure hooks. Perhaps the quickest ocean route has become dangerous due to the drake migration, or a port town seeks aid in ridding themselves of the drakes which have settled nearby for the season. The party can try to find the nesting drakes at their perch, or try to catch the drakes en route, culling the swarm's numbers to reduce the threat posed to the local tourist population.
Of course, any ship seeking to brave the drake migration would pay handsomely for protection, and the drakes can be a surprising new encounter for adventures on the seas. Whatever route you go with these little terrors, we're sure they'll give your players a fright upon first meeting.
And now we move from the open seas to the arid desert, home of the Pit Gouger.
Inhabiting only the driest and most expansive deserts, pit gougers are feared by any travelers that dare to cross their sandy homes. Patient hunters lying in wait, these dragons bury themselves beneath a hot desert surface to lure in unsuspecting prey. Striking without warning, they disorient their quarry with blasts of sand before moving in to finish off any who fall into their hunting grounds.
As desert dwellers, pit gougers have very different methods of survival from the archer drakes. Instead of moving frequently and chasing down prey, these dragons instead lie in wait for their next meal to come to them.
Drawing on antlion larvae and trapjaw worms this time around, pit gougers are capable of digging enormous sand pits that look no different from regular dunes at first glance. After doing so, they burrow dead center, shielding themselves from the hot sun while they wait to welcome any creatures who fall down the pit's slippery slopes.
Every aspect of the pit gouger is built for survival. Large pincer-like jaws for snaring prey, a body capable of digging through sand at ease, and an anatomy that allows for it to remain underground indefinitely. Its segmented body is inspired by a centipede, with undulating fins running down its length like the gossamer worm, allowing it to displace sand for movement and construct its pit.
For adventurers less familiar with the dangers of the desert, a pit gouger is a nasty surprise. Plenty of parties have faced the dilemma of abandoning a member lost to the bottom of the pit, or throwing more bodies at the problem in a rescue effort.
And though the dragon's first and foremost priority is an easy lunch, it has the tools needed to fend off unwanted aggression while in its makeshift lair.
While clamping down on one person, the dragons spray sand at other creatures within reach to knock them down before dragging them in for an even heartier meal. If not dealt with swiftly, a pit gouger can slowly chip away at an entire party one by one.
Bounties placed upon a pit gouger can pay handsomely for any willing and capable of bringing one down, but a failed attempt merely provides the dragon with a quick snack. Those ill-prepared to venture into pit gouger territory either learn quickly from their mistakes, or serve as examples for those who follow. Either way, adventurers can decide for themselves if they wish to brave the sands in search of these terrible predators, or attempt to avoid them entirely.
And now we depart for the murky swamps, home to the Bog Stalkers.
Amongst the many dangers of marshy habitats, few strike fear into the hearts of travelers like a Bog Stalker, a patient and ruthless killer that strikes when least expected, singularly adapted to hunt unsuspecting prey. They drift listlessly just below the murky waters in quiet pursuit, as long as required. Few are ever prepared for when the dragon finally lunges from below, snatching a single person in their jaws before hauling them back into the darkness.
A long existence in marshlands and swamps has drastically altered the physiology of these creepy dragons. As its name implies, the Bog Stalker hunts by stalking its prey over long periods of time, waiting for an opportunity to drag it down into the murky waters of its habitat.
This design was primarily inspired by slender-snouted crocodiles, as well as king cobras. With scales colored like its surroundings, the dragon hides from sight by way of camouflage beneath the surface of the swamp. Even experienced adventurers are unlikely to spot it from a distance, and if they do, it's likely too late. Its wide neck frills resemble a slowly drifting lily pad, distracting them from the two protruding eyes in front of it.
If spotted, whether intentionally or unintentionally, the Bog Stalker has a special ability lingering from its draconic ancestry, the power to strike fear deep into the hearts of those who stand against it.
Inspired by the iconic frill-neck lizard, the Bog Stalker flashes the bright display on the underside of its vestigial wings and neck. The coloration of the display is inspired by the false eyes found on various animals, like Io moths and Quiaba dwarf frogs.
Those surprised by the terrifying image are stunned, allowing the Bog Stalker to strike without fear of reprisal.
Once a poor victim is trapped between its jaws, the Bog Stalker shows its true nature. Not a proud and mighty fighter like its predecessors, but an opportunistic sadist, dragging its quarry kicking and screaming into the bite.
But once the Bog Stalker has claimed a victim, the nightmare truly begins as the survivors begin to hear their companions' wails all around them. It can mimic sounds it hears, similar to animals like the lyrebird, and may be also inspired by one of our favorite movie monsters.
While it's uncertain if the dragon truly comprehends the words it projects with its mimicry, it certainly understands the effect its horrific sonic assault has on any remaining adventurers who have to endure hearing their friends' final pleas for help day and night.
Purposefully venturing into Bog Stalker territory is reserved only for the bravest, or most foolish, of adventurers, and those who live to tell the tale are unlikely to repeat the ordeal.
While the Bog Stalker similarly adds an element of danger in an area, it is an active hunter, unlike the Pit Gouger. As such, people may go missing more frequently in its home turf, calling for immediate action on behalf of swamp denizens and neighboring towns.
Even hags get lonely without company, and a murderous dragon devouring your potential clientele is bad for business, as well as the value of your hut.
Or your players may have simply wandered into the swamp, not knowing the terrors that lie in wait.
Thank you all for joining us for Dragon Week. We hope you enjoyed our offerings for your D&D campaigns.
Thanks once again to Ginny and Antonio for organizing yet another year of community togetherness. We can't wait for Monster Week 2026.
We're always looking to create homebrew content that's easy to slot into your adventures. So if any of these dragons suit your needs, please feel free to give them a try.
And don't forget to check out the other wonderful participants in Dragon Week. There will be a playlist linked in the description below so you can show some love to the hard work everyone has put in this year.
We're looking forward to bringing more dragon goodness later this year, but stay tuned for next month, where we've got another exciting theme we think you'll enjoy.
As always, thank you again for watching.
A special thanks to all of our generous patrons who make this all possible. We literally could not do this without your support.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all the YouTube goodness, and we'll see you all next time.